anyway, as Brian was saying, yeah, anything to the left, asset protection is residential part of Coronado. Coronado is also home to more active and retired admirals than anywhere in the continental United States. In fact, there's so many admirals that reside on Coronado today, the Navy has actually nicknamed the island Admiral's Island. And it's not cheap to live there. In fact, the average price for a home around Coronado is over $2 million today. As Brian was saying, if you can, highly recommend a trip over to Coronado just to walk along their beautiful beach. While you're there, you're going to want to visit the Hotel del Coronado. The Hotel del Coronado is actually the largest all-wooden structure this side of the Mississippi. Its doors first opened back in 1888. If you were around back then, you were able to rent a room for $3.40. Today, some of their suites rent out for as much as $10,000 a night. Wonderful, wonderful hotel. This time of the year, I highly recommend going to the hotel just to check it out because they actually set the hotel up to be a winter wonderland. When you walk into the hotel, first thing you see is a giant Christmas tree. You can even ice skate in the back. In fact, there's an ice skating rink back there, which made the Guinness Book of World Records for being the furthest northwestern ice skating rink, I think it is. Anyway, you don't have to be staying at the hotel to enjoy it. They encourage people coming in off the street by giving tours of the hotel. Again, a lot of history at the hotel. They say that every president of the United States, from Benjamin Harrison to President George Bush, has spent at least one night in that hotel. It's been back up to over 140 movies. Thomas Edison actually flipped the switch for the first time for the electricity to actually flow. Now, on our starboard side there, between the two beige towers or buildings, we've got a strip of land. That's called Centennial Park. That's the old ferry land. The bridge in front of us was built. There was 5 ferry boats that operate out of there. 2 of them were carrying nothing but automobiles. Once the bridge was built, however, they reduced the ferry service down to the city, eliminating the automobile carrying ferry boats. If you look over here to the right, you can see one of the two. What you're looking at is the Silver Gate, which you can catch from behind our convention center. If you look to your left, that building over there with the white tent on it, that's our convention center. The other ferry boat you can catch over just a few yards before you board at this boat today. Both boats will take you over to the ferry landing over here where you can shop, you can eat, you can even rent a bicycle, stand up out of the water and kayak and enjoy the bay.
Oh, that looks like
Again, credit for discovering the bay goes to Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo, who sailed into the bay back in 1542. The white building off to our starboard side is actually an apartment complex, and the large white building there behind you, the palm trees, that is another hotel. That is the that's the Coronado Marriott Hotel. And just to the left of that hotel, you're going to see a bunch of trees. That is a golf course. That is a Coronado Municipal Golf Course. Wonderful place to play golf if you guys have the opportunity. And if you look over the golf course trees right now, you'll see some tall buildings. Those are the Coronado Shores condominiums, literally built right on the water's edge. If you look to the right of that last building, you'll probably catch a glimpse of the red spiral rooftop, which is the Hotel del Coronado. Now, if you're going to drive to Coronado, the fastest way would be to take a bridge. This is the San Diego Coronado Bay Bridge. It was actually built in 2 years. Since then, however, the federal government actually came back and spent another $100 million reinforcing this bridge. They wanted to be sure that this bridge would withstand an earthquake up to a 7.0 on the Richter scale. And to do that, they had to spend another $100 million in reconstruction costs. This bridge is actually sitting on an active fault. The bridge is 195 feet tall, and it is 2.12 miles long. And if you pan your head from the left side over to the right of Coronado, you're going to notice the bridge has a curve on it. It's actually an 80-degree curve. And the reason for that curve is for a bridge to qualify for federal funding, it's got to meet certain criteria. One of the criteria of this bridge was that it had to be 2 miles in length. Well, they didn't have 2 miles crossing the channel. So by putting on this, they extended the length 2.12 miles qualifying for federal funding. And by the way, when this bridge was first built, they dedicated it to the then governor of California. You guys remember who the governor of California was in 1969? It was actually the late President Ronald Reagan. He did the Liberty Act. Now, if you look to the right, kind of underneath the bridge there, you'll notice some low-lying brown buildings. That part of the Navy, that is where the Navy trains SEAL teams 1, 3, 5, and 7. Even-numbered SEAL teams are trained on the East Coast. Very difficult to actually become a Navy SEAL because that program, the training is so tough. During that training, 70% of those recruits drop out. That's normally during the first 2 weeks. Now, once we get on the other side of the bridge, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be in what is referred to as the South Bay. The south end of the bay, though, is also home to our working waterfront. Most people don't realize that our working waterfront is actually responsible for about 42,000 jobs. It brings in about $8 billion to the region's economy every year. Up first is BAE Systems. They are very busy working on some of our Navy ships. Look at the first Navy ship, number 90. This is an Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyer, a very powerful warship. The majority of our Navy actually is made up of such ships. There are 61 active today. Now, what makes these ships so powerful, besides the brave men and women serving on them, it's the weapon system. These ships, along with the cruisers, implement the Aegis weapon system. And part of that system, that ship that you're looking at, has 82 vertical launching tubes, which are built into the ship's decking from the bow to the stern. And out of these tubes come one of the following missiles. It can be an anti-air, anti-surface, anti-submarine, or a land strike missile. They're capable of reaching speeds of over 2,000 miles an hour. And they're so deadly accurate they can program them to fly inside an open window, which may be over 3,000 miles away. The radar systems on these ships is a 4-megawatt phaser radar where they can keep track of 120 objects at a time. Now, the reason for the plastic is to keep the bay clean. Before they do any work on these ships, they wrap it up tight with that plastic to ensure the particles don't fall into the bay. Coming up, the beige thing that stamped BAE Systems. This is a dry dock. A dry dock is basically a garage. This unit actually sinks down into the water. They very carefully float a ship inside of it. And then they can do work on the underneath side of the ship. The ship that's in there right now is a littoral combatant warship. We'll talk more about these ships when you can actually see them. The next ship, number 26, this is a San Antonio class LPD. This ship is used to transport those brave men and women we call Marines, along with any equipment they may need to perform their duty. The next ship, 123 in it, this is another Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyer. And then coming up, the green and blue dry dock. This is NASCO. NASCO stands for National Steel and Shipbuilding Company. They are actually our largest manufacturing employer here in San Diego. These guys are so busy right now, they are working around the clock. That's because they don't only build repair ships here, they build them as well. You're going to see them doing both. Inside the green and blue dry dock, we have a San San Antonio class LPD. And if you look to the right and left of the cranes out there on dry land, you've got 1, 2, 3 oilers being built along with a helicopter supply ship. In fact, this ship that's closest to us here, number 208, this is a brand new oiler. They've got about 8 more weeks to go before they can turn this over to the Navy. Now, NASSCO has actually built 50 Navy ships right here. They've also built 33 oil tankers. One of the most famous was the Exxon Valdez, which ran around in Prince William Sound, Alaska. Please come down from that bench. Yes, you. Thank you. Now, coming up here, you can see another asset protection barrier. It's actually tied up at pier number 1. And it goes south in front of us all the way down to pier number 13. You are looking at the second largest naval station in the country behind Norfolk. We are actually home to 60 active warships. You never come down here though and count 60. That's because there are a lot of our brave men and women serving on these ships overseas right now, protecting our freedom.
Yeah, so many
But we do have one of each type of warship currently in the United States. The first 2 ships on pier number 1, the one on the left, is an oiler. Again, its job is to refuel Navy ships while they're underway at sea. And the one to the right of that, this is one of the San Antonio, this is a littoral combatant warship. This is the identical ship that was up there in the dry dock. Notice the hull of this ship, it's got 3 hulls on it. This ship is also made out of aluminum. It's very, very fast. It can be better than 40 knots in the open ocean. What's truly remarkable about these ships, ladies and gentlemen, they only need 15 feet of water underneath them. 15 feet. All these other Navy ships require 30 to 35 feet of water. These littoral combatant warships are all arranged right now to do minesweeping operations. This next ship, number 2, this is the Essex. This is a LHD. Helicopter, this is LHA, excuse me. This is a helicopter carrier. Ship number 2 is the Essex. Now these helicopter carriers carry 24 helicopters, 4 Harrier jump jets, which are used exclusively by the United States Marines. Speaking of Marines, there are 1,900 of those brave men and women we call Marines on board that ship. 1,200 of the brave men and women that we call sailors. Next couple of ships, more Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers. Then we've got the other ship with the plastic on it. This is another destroyer.